Alright, I'm Gary with PA Hydroponics, and we're back for the last episode of the bubble bucket and beyond. Last week we built this guy here, the single bubble bucket, for the past 2 episodes. This week we're taking it a step further. This is a 2-plant system here with a reservoir, and all of our bubble buckets are hooked together. It also has a circulation pump in here that actually circulates the water around. This is going to be cool, and it's going to be easier to take care of. You won't have to deal with trying to move the plants off the buckets anymore, because you'll have this reservoir here that you can check your pH, you can check your parts per million, EC, all that can be done in your extra reservoir bucket. So let's get to it. We're gonna go get some parts, and all right, we're gonna need 3 buckets for this project, and we're gonna need 1 blank bucket lid. That's gonna be over top of our reservoir to keep the light from getting in it. Always try to keep light out of your reservoir. We're gonna have 2 plants on this system, so we're gonna do the old 6-inch baskets again. Check out our previous videos, and we explained all of that already. So back to the parts section. In between our buckets, we're gonna be using the drains, the same kind of thing we use for the water indicator level line. This time we're gonna be using 1 inch. The bigger the better on these drains, because when this is all said and done, it's gonna be circulating around, and you don't want to restrict it. So each bucket's gonna have an in and an out. So we're gonna need 2 per bucket, so we're gonna need 6 of these. Alright, there's 4 in there, that's 6. Alright, that's everything for this. Really not a lot of parts involved. We're also going to need our 1-inch hose over here. This is going to go in between our buckets, so we're going to carry that over. I'm going to be cutting some small pieces off of that, and I'll meet you over the counter. Alright, this is going to be a cool little system when it's done. Once you get multiple plants into a grow room, if they're all separate buckets, you're going to have to mix everything separately. This system, everything's going to be hooked together, so as you saw, closest the buckets can be in your garden are the thickness of these. So right here, it's about the closest you can possibly get them. So we are at about 27 inches from edge to edge here. So keep that in mind when you're designing this for your house, because some people come in and they have little tiny closets and stuff. So a 3x3 tent, this little system could fit in nicely, or you can add 1 to it. You can do, we've done as many as 10 buckets before, but I recommend staying at the most to be 8 buckets. Alright, what I'm doing right now is I'm positioning the buckets the way they're going to be when it's done. That way I know where I can drill all the holes. So I got a Sharpie marker here. I'm just gonna go and put a little line above each one of these. It's a little hard to see the Sharpie marker, but you can space this out also and have, you know, lots of room between your plants. It's all about how much room you have. I think that's all. Now, drilling your holes, you don't want this too far down, because on the inside of the bucket there's a little rounded edge, and I've drilled them too far down before, and this sits a little like cockeyed on that edge, and then you get the leaks. So we're going to go about, let's measure it, about 1 inch to the bottom of the fitting is where we're going to end up being there. So you can even take it and just put a line on each side. Gives you a little bit of zero. And since we're using soft tubing here, if it's off a 1/4 inch, the soft tubing can kind of help make up for that. If you're using PVC, that's a whole different story. You need to have everything really exact. Get out of the way for now. Alright. Alright, so we're going to start our holes. I'm going to be drilling 6 holes here. And I'm just kind of centering up between my 2 lines that I put on. And once again, gonna have a mess. These little things just unscrew. And I'm gonna eyeball this whole system up. You can get out the tape measure if you want and get everything exact, but I built enough of them. Alright, that's one done. Go up an inch again. Little line under, a little line over to line those up. I'm doing some eyeballing here. Line under. Bucket. Always want to buy one of those white paint markers to do this. Make things a little bit easier to see. Now we're going to get the deburring tool out again and clean these up. On this system, since we're dealing with multiple buckets, the weight of the water is going to be an issue, so you want to make sure your fittings are definitely on there nice. I'm going to ream these out, make it nice and smooth. We'll do that to all 3 of them. We're going to put our fittings on. And yes. Again, if you watched our last video, these come with 2 grommets on them, so one on the inside, one on the outside. Go in from the inside, stick them on. Hand tighten these, don't over tighten them. You can always go back once you get the water in the system and make sure that everything's good. Probably could have went down another 1/4 inch towards the bottom, but I just don't want you guys to ruin your buckets. I always tell customers, try to drill like an old bucket around your house first. That way, if you mess it up, you're not wasting a brand new bucket. Number 2. In a future video, I'm going to be doing the high flow undercurrent system, where I'm using 2-inch bulkhead fittings with PVC pipe. So if you want to see a bigger system, that's going to be coming up next few weeks, hopefully. But for now, we're doing this. When you get into the bigger system, prices on parts are going to go up. So this is more of a beginner style here. All right, so we got all 3 buckets. They're going to sit something like this. You're going to have your 2 plants. You're going to have your reservoir up front so you can get to here. Your reservoir, you'll be able to check your pH, your water level, all that will be done on that bucket. And when you need to drain the system, you'll use this reservoir, use the pump in there to suck everything out and do a drain. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cut some tubing cut here. I'm going to space them out a little bit. We're going to go about, let's do 6 inches this time. So I'm going to go ahead and cut 6 inches of tubing. About there is where I want to go. Alright, so 6 inches. Yep. So I'm just going to use this as a guide for the rest of them. Food grade plastic vinyl by Hydroponics, and 3 of them is all we need for this one. If you had a multi-bucket system, of course you'll need more of these. So you did like 8 plants. These can be hard to get on, so I like to push on the inside. A little bit of dish soap can work wonders on these. These are quadruple barbed, by the way, so you don't really need hose clamps with them. Probably the physically hardest part of building this, getting your tubing on. Alright, and the last one. The bend of the hose is what people, at least customers, call it memory. You can run it under warm water if you ever have problems with it. It's always the hardest. And with all the bending and twisting and all that, I usually go give these just little extra smooth turn here at this point. Finger tighten them. Alright. Everything is together now. So it's going to end up like this. This system we're going to be using a 2 output air pump for these 2 buckets. The reservoir we're not going to aerate. You don't want bubbles going into your pump or circulation pump that we're going to put on. So I'm going to go ahead and drill the holes for the air right now. 1/4 inch bit. And I'm probably going to set my pump on this side, so I'm going to do both of my holes on these sides of the bucket. There's one. And 2. It's got a pretty big chunk on here. I'm going to take that off. Alright, so that's good to go. Alright, we need more parts. Meet me over there. Alright, we're not going to go through the whole shebang about the air. We're going to need 2 stones. Last video we went through all that, so if you didn't see that, go back and watch it. So 2 air stones for this. We're also going to need a 2 output pump, since we're going to have dedicated outputs for each one. And we're going to need some air tubing. That's going to take care of the air portion of it. The circulation portion gets a little more complicated. We're going to be using a pump to circulate the water around the system. You cannot use a huge pump on it. Like, we've tried a 400 gallon per hour, and what happens is it pumps around so fast, the first bucket it goes to is a really high water level. The last bucket will be sucked down low. So we're actually going to use this little guy up here. This is a 75 gallon per hour pump. It's also got an adjustment on the front, like most of our pumps, and that'll allow you to really dial it in. We're also going to need a way to get this 1/2 inch line to turn into a 3/4 inch line. And pretty much my goal here is on the inside of the bucket, where this is on the inside, this 3/4 inch line fits in the back of it nice and snug. Very snug. It's because it's cold. Yeah, there we go. That's what I was trying to show you. So we're going to take a little bit of that over there. And then, like I said, we're going to go from the 1/2 inch to the 3/4 inch. So we're going to be using a reducer, which we do sell multiple different kinds of reducers. This is pretty much going to turn into a 3/4 inch line. And by the time I'm done this, you'll understand what I'm talking about here. So, or at least I hope so. Alright. I'm also going to need a tiny piece of 1/2 inch hose. Alright, tiny piece of 1/2 inch hose. And then the 3/4 inch hose I'm going to wait to cut. That way I'm not wasting too much of that. That stuff gets a little bit more pricey. Alright, that should be everything we need, and I'll meet you back over there. Alright, we are back. Got our air stuff ready to go here. So, I'm going to go ahead and get our air stones in here. Set them right in the middle on the bottom. I'm going to leave enough room for my air line so I can have it sit outside the tent. Keeping your air pump outside the grow area is sucking in cooler air, basically. So, even better yet, set it on top of an air conditioning vent or something. Your air pump, you always want to have it elevated above the water level in case the electric turns off, and it's happened to customers before. Water will siphon back through the air pump and it's shot. So our air pump's going to sit off to the side. So about that much line on that one. Some people do like to cut their air line even on both stones. I don't know if that really makes a difference or not, but I kind of just don't like having excessive spaghetti laying around. Alright. So that one, we're about that far. So I'm not going to plug this in yet. So the air is ready. Alright, this part is a little bit complicated. This is the part where you have to turn the 1/2 inch output on this pump into a 3/4 inch. So the pump's going to set on the edge at the bottom of the bucket. It's going to kind of mount to the side of the bucket like this. Then we're going to have our reducer turn into 3/4 inch, and then that's going to go and line up with the outside of this hole. So that's what we're going to try to do here. I shouldn't say try, we're going to do it. Alright, so the 1/2 inch is going to go in here. It's going to go in here. Then I need to get a measurement to go from here to figure out how far of a piece of 3/4 inch hose I need. So I'm going to stick that down there. Get out the old-fashioned tape measure, and 5 inches looks like enough. So attach that onto here. And this isn't a tight fit on this particular pump, and that's fine, it's not going to matter. Alright, so this I'm pretty much going to wedge against the side wall. And it is in there. So, I don't know if you can get over to see this or not, but pretty much the water's going to go this way, circulate around the buckets, and keep on circulating all day long. You might have to turn the pump down. Like I said before, if you use a big pump, this bucket will be really full, this one will be really low, because it can't keep up with the circulation. That's one of the problems with this system. It's not a problem, honestly. It's just that everybody has seen the fast current underflow systems with the 2-inch pipe or the 3-inch pipe, and those things are running like a river. But this system does work, and it's much cheaper to build. We're also gonna put on the water fill line on this side like we did in our last video, and I'm gonna go get the stuff for that. See you in a minute. All right, we're gonna put on the water level indicator line on the side again. I'm gonna kind of do it off to the side a little bit, just because my pump's probably gonna be sitting right about here, no matter which way I shoot the water. So, well, let's go ahead and drill the top since I got my bit in there. Go on this rim again. In our last video, we explained all this, so go back and watch that if you don't remember. This will be nice to have one here, and all your buckets will always be the same level. Burring tool, those edges up. A little piece of tubing. Much easier once you do it a couple times. And here's our little clip. Just gonna go whack the top of that off real quick. Alright, put my pump back in. I pulled that out when I drilled just to make sure I didn't mess it up and embarrass myself on this video. Hundreds of thousands of people will be watching it. Alright, we saw all the stuff here, and we can do all kinds of different variations of it, and I'm sure we will in future videos. Alright, for the lid, I've done this a few different ways myself too. I've tried to do like grommets with the cord inside. Pretty much you need a hole for the cord, so over time I end up just doing a simple little notch out on the side here. This is tricky to drill. Pretty much I'm going to go right on the edge of the bucket here. Just like that. And that'll give it a nice little notch out for the cord to come out of. So that's your reservoir. And that's pretty much it. I am Gary from PA Hydroponics, and this was a fun little bubble bucket project. This is our first series of videos. I'm gonna be doing a whole bunch more, so all kinds of stuff. I think next I'm probably gonna do a cloning machine, an aeroponic cloner. That'll be fun and easy and fun. You know, building stuff's fun. We love doing it. Customers come in all the time. You know, I need to build this. I'm like, well, let's build it now. Because I got all the parts. So anyway, check back with us and we'll see you on the next video. Have a good day.